All right, so this is a live, you know, whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of workshopping ideas semi-privately here. So this is going to be me figuring out what I think a little bit better about should you try to sound like a native speaker? Yes, no, does it depend? Is it good? Is it bad? Etc. There's people get pretty energetic about this topic at times. I think it can be uh, there's room for nuance here, and I want to explore what are my beliefs here, and just what are some of the key points. What's the lay of the land here for this type of space, this type of argument, this type of question? So that's what this live is me exploring some of that stuff. So should you try to sound like a native? Yes or no? My kind of the entrance point there is I don't think you have to. So I think the should or must or have to, that kind of thing, is kind of an easy thing to attack generally, an easy thing to question. It's kind of a fragile position, I think. I'll have to think about that more, but that's my initial kind of intuition there is people can do what they want for the most part. It kind of probably ties into a bigger discussion about, free will or free speech or freedom in general, or versus, where does one person's freedom begin and another person's freedom. It's that whole tricky thing, which I'm not an expert on. I have a little bit of familiarity with that, but other people could do a much better job of fleshing out those sorts of philosophical debates around freedom and limits on freedom and coercing or requiring or advising other people to do certain things, influencing others. That's a whole big area, and to me this does tie into that. So just the idea of even using should or must or have to kind of language, to me, and maybe that's my own personal bias, feels strange to me. It seems to me other people can and will do what they want for the most part. So yeah, you could argue something about what you recommend, or maybe you could talk about if there's like policies or laws or things like that, or just people putting pressure sort of societally on others, canceling and whatnot. But I would say for the most part, like, people are going to do what they want, and there's room for a lot of different goals and pathways in life and values, and sometimes that can get messy, of course. But I think for the most part, if someone wants to try to sound like a native speaker, are we trying to stop that in some way? Are some people trying to stop that? I'm still a bit confused about. I don't want to straw man it, maybe try to steel man it or whatever. Like, I'm trying to understand better what people's points of contention are, what people are frustrated with. And when I say people, I also don't think this is most people. I don't know the actual proportions or statistics or whatever, because it's confusing. A lot of my interactions with this there's some people I've had deeper conversations with. Like, I did a podcast with an Instagram live that became a podcast with Hadar, where we kind of debated this back and forth, and that was, I thought, a pretty good conversation, where we, even though we saw it differently, we tried to approach it, honestly and curiously from a point of caring, and challenged each other's ideas. That was nice. But also, a lot of my perspective on this kind of thing also comes from getting a lot of what I sometimes think of as haters on comments on a Facebook ad that I run, or occasionally on Instagram posts, that kind of thing. And it's interesting to see what they're saying or what they're reacting to. But then I also try to caution myself, because responding to those comments may also be a red herring or a distraction, or maybe my time and resources, maybe the world's resources, so to speak, are better spent helping people who do want the thing, rather than trying to convince people who don't want the thing, whatever that is. I don't know, maybe there can be a little bit of both, but I think it's risky to invest too much in the people who are not, like, for any business, for any movement, for any effort. If you're focusing too much on people who are opposing it, and not enough on the people who are with it and wanting help with the very thing that is in question, then that's a way to quickly kind of kill the effort, the movement, the business, the thing, whatever it is. So I think that's a thing to be careful about, is sort of, oh, I'm late for a call.